later. I'm like,
Yeah, no problems.
But if you look at the
Right, well,
list.
we got- The Red Bank Historic Preservation Commission will hold a regular meeting on Wednesday, March 16th, 2025 at 7 p.m., 90 Mountain Street, Red Bank. Adequate notice of this meeting has been posted to Borough Hall, filed with the Borough Clerk, and provided to the Borough Press and to River Times. The commission has maintained a policy cutoff hour of 8:30 p.m. for its hearings.
Did you say 16 or 19?
We don't need to do that.
The 16th.
Okay,
Should be 19?
so we need to roll call.
It's the ninth, it's the 19th.
Okay.
19. Okay. Right.
Roll call,
Okay, Louis Almarini,
present.
Marjorie Cavalier,
Present.
William Collins,
Present.
Paul Gagnon,
Present.
Karen Schmelz,
Present.
Doug Miller,
Present.
Anthony Sotero,
Here.
Oh, there he is.
and then Betsy Valera.
Present.
Any public comments on the agenda? Okay. Moving into administrative matters, approval of the regular meeting minutes from February 19th, 2025. Would someone like to? I'll make a motion to approve that? Yeah. Second,
I'll second it.
okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Opposed. All right, and now, next move to minor works committee. Reports.
Okay, so the Minor Works Committee met, well, through email. This was a fairly easy application. It was for 76-78 Wallace Street. They were replacing their roof. Has been some leaking there. And so they were replacing their roof, asphalt shingles with asphalt shingles. And so through email, we all agreed that it was acceptable since it was an original material. And that was it.
Thank you. River Center,
I think we already covered that in terms of the,
Just on your mic.
oh, you might,
oh, sorry. We already covered the information that River Center would like to have someone on the committee to work on historic design styles.
And before we move on, is there anyone else that I should reach out to that you would like to see on the committee?
I would like somebody who is familiar with architecture.
With what?
Architecture.
I feel like Stephen has that experience.
I think he's got
An architect,
Got that covered? Okay.
but I mean like any other agency.
Community group or agency, I think.
What about the code enforcement? That might be interesting for them as well.
He's part-time and he's very busy, so I'm pretty sure it'd be very difficult to get him on it.
Okay.
But to my comment before, in addition to the people that are actually going to be working with Stephen, he did mention sending out a questionnaire that would go to everybody on all the members here to respond if we want him to. And then that could be also go out to a representative in some sample of the residents, perhaps, that are not necessarily on the committee, but you would be asking for responses on what kind of architecture they value, for example. You know, if they have suggestions of places for him to look, to add to the survey.
There was a professor at Rutgers in planning. And he actually does work all over the world in planning and historic preservation. He's really one of these traditional urbanist type.
Who is that? Can I ask?
He really,
Who is it?
and a professor at Rutgers, his name, well, he's no longer there, Anton Nellison.
Okay, okay.
He's interested in planning.
He's been my friend since I don't know when,
been
before
a
he was a
long minute.
professor. At any rate, so he does these visual impact assessments and other things because he was so convinced that you need to have the community understand what was the value of their community and what did they like about it. So like I said, that was one of the things that I thought that Steve really did a lot to really encourage. And, you know, I would just go with his recommendations, you know, the more you reach out, the better you will be. That's how I see it.
Site committee.
So one of the things I thought we could do, especially since Anthony and Karen are both here, if we could establish a time for us to meet with Shauna to begin the work on trying to get those properties listed in the master plan brought to the council for approval. So I don't know whether you'd want to take a look at your calendar and get back to Shauna, time of day or day that works for you, so we could find a day that works for all four of us.
I can be pretty flexible in the afternoon. I don't know with Karen, how much she's teaching, what her schedule is like. I sent Shauna a list of some properties that I was starting to put in a database to maybe share with everybody, or we could add to it and kind of, you know, start putting those together.
So maybe if you guys could look at your schedule and come up with a 2-hour block, maybe either the last week of March or the first week of April, so we can get going on it.
How about that Wednesday?
Christina, do you think that the council will want to designate more properties if their design guidelines aren't in place? I just couldn't, I remember that there was like a somewhat of a, you know, we really kind of had to
I think,
advocate for the ordinance
I
stated.
agree. I think it's certainly makes it easier. But are these limited to the national?
Well, we're gonna start, I think, with the ones that are in the master plan. So are you
Which
free?
master plan?
The one that was just published?
Not the element, so she's referring to in the master plan, it lists the national and the,
Yes.
and the state.
And yeah, in the county?
And the county.
I passed out a copy of it. I don't have that master plan with me
Right,
tonight.
That, so what the goal was for, as you had mentioned in your presentation earlier, was to locally designate.
Yeah, the ones that are, well, there's different, there's like kind of different lists, I think. So
Right, but this was
the
just to get
existing-
started, just to get.
To get the national and state register.
Yes.
Yes.
See, that's what I think Christine is trying to clarify, and I'm trying to clarify. The national and state registered listed properties that are only designated by resolution. So
Yeah.
they're theoretically, not theoretically, they are actually not designated.
That is correct.
So that, I think, that's, I would recommend that as the first baby step, and then you need to revisit the ordinance that I had, I mean, the letter that I had written about the discrepancies in all the prior surveys. That's where it's just have to be careful.
So Karen and Anthony, does April 2nd, Wednesday in the afternoon work for you guys?
Yeah, sometime between, let me see.
Shauna, April 2nd work for you?
I'm available.
Yeah, I mean, between 12 and 2 would work, or 1 and 3.
1 and 3?
Yeah.
How about 1 and 3, Karen?
That's fine. Yes.
1 and 3 on April 2nd to get started.
I will send out the invite right now.
Your meeting.
Just as when, if Shauna, I don't know if you can share that list with them so that they can start seeing it. When we talk about like possible national or, you know, historic sites, we have some major ones that are not in this plan, like the Galleria, the Armory, like those are major, like potentially historic sites, you know?
survey them, that's why I'm having trouble.
I plan to share it with them before the meeting.
Thank you.
All right.
We
so
said
we're
1 to 3.
1 to 3 on April 2nd, a Wednesday,
And we will meet.
in the conference room by Shauna's office.
Okay, good. Moving on to old and new business, there is no old business on the agenda. The new business is the annual report. The annual report. Kindly prepare that and
I'm gonna take a
include
picture.
that with our packet materials for this meeting. Has everyone had a chance to see it? And does anyone have any comments on it?
My only comment was with respect to the attendance. I didn't realize, I thought there was a period last year where there were no meetings when there was the election of Billy, or was that the previous year?
That was January, so it was only 1 month and then we started in February. February was our first official meeting. And that was it.
That was it?
The year thinking about the previous.
Previous
so it
year,
was
right?
Only for that, if for 2024, I covered.
Oh, I see. Okay.
This thing's got 2 pages.
Any other questions or comments?
If everyone is okay with it, then do we have to vote on the approving the annual report to send to council and the planning board? Okay.
Okay.
So motion,
I move to approve it.
and the
I'll
second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Pretty then.
Any further public comments on non-agenda or other items?
Oh, for the public, this,
Oh, no, she's
I know.
press.
oh,
I just want to add, I did send out for the email for the Historic Preservation Conference. Please let me know if anyone would like to attend that so I can register you.
One in June.
Yeah, it's June 5th, 4th and 5th, I think. Okay, that's all I have.
I'm one of the presenters at that conference. It's
Yeah.
all about immersive historic experiences, and we're showing off a lot of different things. So there'll be a lot of Red Bank stuff that we'll be showing off, actually.
And that's in Burlington?
Yeah, Burley,
Yeah, at the
it's-
Burlington prison, which is haunted and all this crazy stuff. I wasn't aware of it, but it's this historic prison in Burlington.
So wear garlic around your neck?
I think so. They actually, one of the immersive experiences that they do is like a trap room experience where they lock you in a jail cell. So
I can't.
Sean is out on that one.
so I had a comment for new business. Is it now the time?
Yeah,
Sure.
All right, so if anyone doesn't know, 65 Washington Street was put on the market, which is historic house, one of my favorite houses in the whole neighborhood. Slate roof. I went to the open house last week. The place is a complete mess. And it was priced accordingly at 500,000. It's currently pending. I don't know if we can be proactive somehow, but I would hate to see something significantly change on that house without our input on it. And I know we talked about, and I can tell you that the realtor, when I went to the open house, knew nothing about the property. Could tell me nothing about it. And she didn't tell me it was in a historic district. She didn't tell me anything about the property. And I'm concerned that something could happen with a new buyer, or developer, or whoever it is, and us be unaware of it and lose a property like that, which I think would be not great for the town.
so
It's designated.
it is
Designated.
Yeah.
it's in the Washington Street District, so to alleviate your worry.
Yeah.
The new buyer, who's in contract right now, actually did reach out to me.
Yeah.
And we had a conversation, and they were asking questions. They understood that it was in a historic district, and they want to make improvements. So I sent them the application, but also on Monday, actually, I think. Monday. Let me double check my calendar. This Monday, I have a meeting with them. They schedule a meeting with me actually to discuss like what they can do to the property. So to alleviate any worry about that, they did do their due diligence. They were back and forth. To be honest, they were back a little back and forth on whether or not they were gonna buy the house because it was in a historic district. And was how restrictive it was going to be for them, but I guess they decided to proceed because they do love the house. And they wanted to schedule a meeting with me, and from the email, it looks like the architect that they are gonna work with actually sits on the Madawan Historical Commission. So he'll be advised by his architect. I don't know if I'll be meeting with him too. But on Monday, but I have a meeting with them and they are, they did do their due diligence about that.
So one of the things that was mentioned at the conference is the real estate disclosure law. Actually, one of the things that people don't realize, one of the many things that they sign off on supposedly is that the realtor is supposed to notify them of any restrictions on the property, which doesn't sound like it happened here since they didn't.
She has it
notify you.
listed on the MLS that it's a historic site and it's in the district. She has it listed multiple times that it was.
Okay,
That's good.
good.
Yeah, and that might not be something that everyone can see, but I'm a real estate agent, so I just pulled it up here to see. And she does have it stated several times that it's in the historic district.
Yeah, I see it on Zillow too.
And that due diligence is required. They also required a cash buyer for it. A bunch of different disclosures are here on it.
Okay, great, good to know. Thank you, Anthony.
That's never fun.
That's why I said you.
All right.
Well, I just had a question that Michelle was talking about. So can we implicate or do we need a motion to establish a procedure that when the historic, when our commission gives an opinion as to our approval for changing out windows or roof or whatever it is, that something goes along with just a simple stamp of approval to the zoning board to specifically state what exactly it is that we approved and what our concerns were, because like I was explaining earlier, that's not what's happening, at least in my experience with the zoning board. So do we need to make a motion for a procedure like that and maybe have
Good
the
idea.
sign off on the form,
I think
something
it's a
like
good
that?
idea, yeah. I think that about a month ago or so, I sent the forms to Shauna. She said that she did distribute them, and I think if you've reviewed them, I mean, that you need to modify them and make them specific to each of the circumstances that you're addressing. But it should be standard practice that you have a formal manner of moving forward, adopting a resolution, specifying what you reviewed and what you impose as conditions, you request to be imposed as conditions.
So, and also when we amend that, I would just suggest that if the chair was not present at the actual presentation, that the vice chair could sign off on what goes to the zoning commission.
That makes sense.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's a good idea, Paul. And so can you bring that up at the zoning board as well as far as their procedures to implement that in their side?
Sure, there's actually a zoning board meeting tomorrow and I'll bring it up on new business. For purposes of this motion, Michelle, can you word craft something?
I'll do
so,
something.
I don't leave anything out.
Now, should there be a
But
similar?
this motion right now.
Yeah,
So the motion is to establish a procedure.
You
for
want to press that button?
I'm sorry. The motion is to establish a procedure for the commission's actions on both advice to the the planning or zoning board and its review of a permit. That number one, they use the form prepared as modified to meet the individual circumstances, that there be a set of plans that are specifically referenced, and that the conditions be specifically listed in these resolutions. Included in that, in the forms that I prepared, there are various requests that to ask the zoning board in particular on, or planning board on applications, that if they approve architectural plans that are different from what you looked at, that they refer it back to you again.
Yes,
So to be clear, this would communicate what we approve or turn down to both zoning and planning.
Depending on the circumstances,
Okay.
yes.
all right, I'd like to make a motion that we adopt such a procedure.
And I would second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
I,
Can we just review that, or does that have to wait till the next meeting to establish that procedure? Can we just see it and then just get back to Shauna if we approve? So
You just
It can go-
adopted it, but you just, I could put it into a formal written resolution if that's what you'd like. Is that acceptable?
I think so.
I'd just like to see it in writing.
And you do have the actual forms in writing, which essentially are what you're gonna be using.
so the forms already exist. This is just.
I-
moving a
I sent the
process.
forms
A
out about
process
a month.
that we're adding
Okay.
our input, that we could see what goes up.
This gets back to why we put the flow chart question on this, because it sounds to me like there was no arrow between two boxes on the flow chart.
So perhaps next month, Joanna would be able to distribute the flow chart that she currently uses. And you'll be able, in between this meeting and next meeting, to look at the flow chart, see if it really expresses how you anticipate the applications or the permits should proceed, consistent with this ordinance, because it might have been from a prior, I don't know, but previously you didn't have a weak commission in stormwater. So that'd be a good idea for you to look over that flow chart and see how you need to amend it in conjunction with this.
Any other matters?
Was there ever an update on, was that 40 Broad Street that's doing the windows? And they never came before the commission? Did they ever get fined, or what's happening? Because they're continually doing stuff.
I sent it to code enforcement, and I'm still waiting to hear back from them. But I'll check in with Frank Woods.
Okay, they already ruined the upper windows. The upper windows used to have like really cool, like, I don't know what you call it, like like boxing or whatever. Now it's just plain black, you know, within, I don't know. If you see it, it's not ornate at all.
There's also the former Elks building they're working on Monmouth Street. Has anybody seen anything on that?
Oh, the one near.
Next to the Dublin House? The one next to the Dublin
Oh, next
House?
to Dublin.
Yeah. That was a former location for Masonic Lodge or Elks or something. They're doing a lot of stuff there. Above C'est La Vie, there's like the old Elks or something building, sign still hanging off the side of the building. Anybody seen that come through?
On the C'est La Vie building? Is that what you're talking
Yes,
about?
yes. Yeah, no one's seen anything going on with that because
Well-
they're working on it.
They're working on it, but I haven't seen any permits or.
Yeah, I just hope they maintain the historical information at the top. Near the crown of the building.
You mentioned.
Is it on the list though?
I think so.
See, that's the first question should be, is something designated? Or is it in a district, or is it, I think you just have districts anyway. So otherwise you don't have jurisdiction.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know the address offhand.
16 Monmouth,
16 Monmouth?
Silverby.
Monmouth Street.
I know they're doing interior renovations. That's. right.
51,
Center has some.
45, the diner. Oh, well. Hopefully they won't destroy the top.
We'll contact them.
I think one of the worst experiences I saw was the municipality would not require a permit unless a construction permit was required, which is a terrible mistake. And so this was in Plainfield, and there was this building, the Van Wyck Brooks House. It was, the whole district was named after this house. And you don't need a construction permit to replace a window in the same opening. So they took down all of these gorgeous signature windows and replaced them with modern windows. They didn't need any approval. That's why we don't, our trigger is not a construction permit. Change. Change.
Hey, it's true. Any other items?
You can't see that thing. History marker.
Anyone want to move to adjourn?
Used to say whatever.
I'll go.
It's like a. But there's definitely a.
All in favor?
Okay,
All in favor of adjourning?
Hey.
thank you all.
Aye.
Thank you.
Bye, Anthony.
All right, guys, thank you.
Take care.